Okay, so let's just get this out of the way. A Rey Skywalker, Palpatine, movie in theory should make money. It's almost a foregone conclusion. Disney will utilize tax breaks to cut some costs, and they'll take advantage of the fact that Star Wars won't be flooding the market with different movies and shows by the time it's released. So again, a Rey movie should make money. But I don't think it gets even close to $1 billion without engaging in what will need to be one of the greatest marketing campaigns Disney will ever undertake for one of its brands, which may need to include a change for Rey. Rey is in a tough spot. The character is only mildly liked by the greater fan base at large, and it's no secret that Daisy's acting career hasn't exactly taken off since Star Wars, which hasn't helped build her brand. And the bait and switch that many fans, myself included, felt that Star Wars did with Finn, and the fact that the actual best new character in Kylo Ren was so much more interesting than everyone else that there's a large contingent of people who believe he should have been the main character, and you can see how just deciding to focus on Rey, as a Jedi Master no less, could potentially turn some of the audience off. Now, regardless of if the upcoming Rey movie is good or not, Disney's bigger issue is that people have already begun writing it off since the initial announcement. And while Daisy Ridley has actually been quite good about understanding and defending the fans, her efforts have been undercut a bit by Charmin Obaid-Chinoy's past interviews and the increasingly poor reception to Lucasfilm's major Star Wars TV project, The Acolyte, whose own cast interviews have been pretty abysmal. So how does a Rey movie with a lot going against it build hype? Can Disney generate enough interest before release in order to at least have a very good opening weekend? Well, honestly, yeah, if they're smart about it. First, let's look at the problems people have with Rey. Some of the common gripes are that her lineage felt rushed and hashed together, when in reality the original plot point of her being a nobody was actually fine. Bad writing caused a lot of her setbacks to essentially happen off camera, and to try and offset that, the sequel trilogy relied a little too much on visual cuts and random bits of dialogue to build her character, which is never a good idea when trying to build a new face of the franchise. One of the reasons Finn was looked at so positively originally was because he had a backstory that was not only interesting, but that he was willing to openly talk about. From the jump, he was both running from something while also trying to improve, but he had training as a soldier, and he was cunning and had courage, which allowed him to get through things, but not without initial struggle. And then Disney threw that all away in the second and third movies. But I digress. Rey, on the other hand, had those things, but not nearly in the same way. Her backstory was initially interesting, and then they forced, no pun intended, her connections. She had no real training and she was fine, and then she did get training and struggled without some kind of interference that worked to her benefit. Essentially, her narrative theory was really disjointed. So if she's the main character, Disney should absolutely start off some of their marketing efforts by acknowledging the problems that people had with Rey in the first place. They aren't blind or deaf, they've heard and seen the chatter, so why not address it from the start? We saw a prime example of this with Echo, a show that a lot of people had also originally wrote off. Despite the show being kind of middling, the original trailer completely blew it out of the water when it came to generating interest and had many people talking. Disney needs the same thing to happen for Rey. It will help to show her in a light that is contrary to the narrative that's out there about her. Show her in trouble, real trouble. Present something that she has to overcome. Without a compelling narrative that not only builds upon the events of the previous films, but also charts a legitimate new course for the future, you're essentially giving audiences a reason not to care from the jump. That being said, it can't just be Rey. There will have to be some major players added. Now, we don't have Luke, Leia, or Han anymore, but there are still some familiar faces that they can draw from. The biggest one is obviously Finn. And if he's back, he cannot be the same. He has to be evolved. The same goes for Grogu if he's supposed to show up. But I can't stress this enough. The new characters have to be intriguing. Not just the potential new villain, but the allies as well. If they seem like they're in it for reasons other than the story, it will be called out quite quickly, even if they end up not being great characters when the movie comes out. At the very least, show the best parts of them during the initial promotional trailers. Furthermore, the new Rey Skywalker movie should absolutely try to push the boundaries of visual storytelling. And should they do that, we need to see it. We need to see something that's repeatable, something that makes you want to watch that part of the trailer over and over, a breathtaking action sequence or a stunning visual effect. We've had Avatar and 2 Dune movies, as well as smaller fantastic looking movies like The Creator, truly push the boundaries of space sci-fi. But Star Wars should be the one dominating that area. After all, it's a hallmark of Star Wars to transport audiences to fantastical worlds and immerse them in epic battles. So if they truly are leveraging the latest advancements in filmmaking technology, show us. It'll help so much more than it'll hurt. Ultimately though, the success of the new Rey Skywalker movie in building hype will depend on its ability to deliver a cinematic experience that is both true to the spirit of the franchise and is fresh and exciting in its own right. But it will be hard to reach those astronomical levels of hype without acknowledging some of the issues that came before, because the hard-headed aspect of Disney ignoring the overall consumer is fast fading away, and years of goodwill isn't exactly easy to recover. Now, I'm not going to say that shows completely destroy a movie, especially when the story of the shows have nothing to do with the story of the movie. But sometimes shows can affect the overall brand, and nothing might hurt the brand more than The Acolyte. Now, if they're able to get past it and put out a good series, the whole narrative can end up switching. But if it ends up being something poor, like really poor, just like Secret Invasion did no favors to the Marvels, the Rey Skywalker movie might find itself in the same boat when it comes to The Acolyte.